Well, happy Prosperity Day, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in and turning on and just being a part of all this. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's weird. So anyway, the speaking favor over us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. That's how we roll here, and we like rolling that a lot. So what's up, folks? Good to see everyone there. I am just doing so good. Hey, Steiger, I love this time travel, man. It's some cool stuff. Truly is. But anyway, let's go over there and all is well. So, hey, we're rocking and rolling. Bus is leaving. So, hope you had a great weekend. Whatever you did, I hope you had fun at it. Make it count. You know, you make the memories. It's true. Hey, everybody in the chat room, what's up? Good to see everybody. Lucky, how you doing, buddy? Matt Cal, Lost in Space, Kitty and Muskins. I think that's what that is. Anyway, the doctor is in the house. Gaia, how are you, my dear? Linda Espinoza, good to see you. Grace, hello, message. Jarga, excuse me, getting all choked up. Jargo, good to see you. Loretta, hello. Is that Deborah Sloan? Much love to you. Mark, what's up, buddy? Stephen and everybody else. I think I saw Brandon in there earlier, so I think also Gilbert. How you doing, brother? Had a fabulous weekend. Read. There's, well, besides cooking, but mostly read. So many books. Got another one in. Interesting. You know, this one's called The Modern Magician. Interesting. Thick thing. Revisited this one. Children of Fire. All I can say is whoever wrote that, they were channeling. No doubt about it. They were channeling some heavy stuff. So, what else? Susie Q, hello. How are you? Elderberry, what's up, buddy? Good to see you as well. Multiverse God King, welcome. Favor be to you. Pross Pen Greedy, hello. So, I didn't watch the football game. Yeah, I figured one team won. So that's about how I took at it. We're going to get really into some things on this. The question I asked for the poll today, are humans running the affairs of human? Yes or no? Um, the topic we're going to be getting on, we've talked about it a number of times over almost 10 years on this channel. Goddess, how are you doing? Good to see you. B, hello, what's up? And I know Gogo is there. And so, Joyce, what's up, darling? So, oh, later this week, I'm going to be doing a show, and the title of it is Satanism is Just Another Form of Christianity. And I'm going to bring forth my thesis as to exactly why it's just another form of Christianity. Those two can't exist without the other. Paul Joe, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, Nina. I think I said that already. Tina Marie, good to see you. Lady Ellie, hello. Well, Tori. So many of you have probably either saw videos, channels that, covered the Lacerta files. It's very interesting. We cover a lot on here. And, for almost a decade, from the very beginning, I made extensive presentations in step by step how serpents have always been with us. They always have. There's a good reason for it. They show up in every religion, and the thing about it is, each one has a different variations, but it's still reptiles. serpents, dragons, or how about just straight out reptilians? In my years of Christianity, in studying angelology, that's what it is, um, we were taught that the seraphims were reptilians. You can read, the Bible on that. They describe them as serpent, reptiles, reptilian. And there's a reason why humans, this it it in it triggers a deep primordial fear of our species. Good reason. They hunted us. They ate us. Um, and our species knew that. And as we get into this book, it's going to be interesting because, the female reptilian, and if you haven't heard the story before, you're going to enjoy it. If you heard it before, well, come on, bring your libations in and all the other extracurricular um, whatever else you need, support or otherwise. Hey, Jackie, what's up? Michelle, good to see you. Missy, hello. So many people in here today. I did a whole thing in the um, Bloodline Invaders series and extensive research in, again, serpents everywhere. And we see modern day branches again, you know, it's all connected here, but it still gets back down to this snake, this serpent, this reptile. We have in our DNA reptilian characteristics. Why? Well, it's the story of the Nephilim is probably a story about when our females were captured and used for breeding. That's why the Bible says, God says, I'll put enmity between you and the snake. Think about it. Because that's what happened. It's women still, it's that primordial fear. It so impacted our species because it was survival. And again, it blends into the modern day story of alien abductions. All the aliens are reptilian. That's because they've been taking female humans from the very get-go. Um, you know, we'll read the story of this reptilian female, 28 years old, apparently, long lived. But it's interesting to see how she describes us. Now, I happen to believe that they are here. I think they are, in fact, the archons. I do believe it is the reptilians who rule this world. We do not. Our only escape is death. They can't reach us in the afterlife. And so when we come in here into this realm, we're coming into their dominion, and they are everywhere. So if you have a different opinion, that's fine. My point is that no matter what position you take on this, there's a commonality. We don't like them. They don't like us. And we'll hear about the story. Now, the other thing, the reason why I'm doing this is that because Lacerta said that we should be expecting any time now an alien attack. She said they kind of seem to almost disappear. She says they're coming again. And she says humanity is not ready for them. Could be the great slaughter that we are been told in our prophecies. We knew they were coming back. little message in the bottle, as they would say. So let's get right to it. Now, I did a show on this one. This is the book, The Secret History of the Reptilians. And this is a well put together book. It kind of tells you how the Anunnaki and the Sumerians, again, we are under their control. They know how to manipulate our minds. They've had a long time to learn how to do it. Again, and we'll be referencing this, but again, this is it's a textbook type book, a lot of references into it. Again, the remnants of the Nephilim. There can be another point of view on this, is that, well, if these angels fell down and had sex with human females, it's kind of the same story of the reptilians, what they've done to us. So let's just get right into this. This is the Lacerta files, reptoids of the inner earth. And this is going to be a fun book. So the story goes, reptoids. I like that. Graboids. I think that. So this is the gentleman, Jimmy Bergen in Sweden. It was published in 2004. So let's go. Introduction. It says, I certify that the following text is the absolute truth and no work of fiction. These are parts of the transcript of an interview I made with a non-human and reptilian being in December 1999. This female being was already in contact with a friend of mine whose name is given only with the abbreviations EF in the text. Since some months, let me declare that I was all my life a skeptic about UFOs, aliens, and other weird things. And I thought that EF tells me just dreams or fictitious stories when he talked with me about his first contacts with the non-human being Lacerta. I was still a skeptic when I met this being on December 16th last year in a small, warm room in the remote house of my friend near a town in the south of Sweden, despite the fact that I saw now with my own eyes that she was not human. She was told and shown me so many unbelievable things during that meeting that I can't deny the reality and the truth of her words any longer. This is not another of that wrong UFO papers which claim to tell the truth but tell it in fact just fiction. I'm convinced that this transcript contains the only truth and therefore you should read it. I have talked with her for over 3 hours. So the following transcript shows you only shortened parts of the interview because she asked me after the interview not to publish everything she had told me already now. The order of the questions in this transcript is not always the same order in which I had asked them. So it may seem sometimes a little bit confusing to you. It's not easy to delete all of the important parts she asked me to delete from the transcript, so I apologize for maybe unusual order. I'm in the possession of the entire transcript of the interview, 49 pages, which some of my drawings of her body and her equipment, and also some tapes on which I have the full interview. But I will not reveal this before I have permission from her. I will send this shortened form of the still fascinating document to 4 of my reliable friends to Finland, Norway, Germany, and France. And I hope they will translate it into their own languages and into other languages. And I hope as many people as possible will be able to read and to understand the transcript. If you receive it, please send it to all your friends via email or make printouts and copy them. I certify, therefore, furthermore, that various paranormal abilities of her species, like telepathy and telekinesis, including the moving and dancing of my pencil on the table without touching, and the flying of an apple around 40 centimeters over her hands, excuse me, were shown to me during the 3 hours and 6 minutes of the meeting, and I'm absolutely sure that these abilities were no tricks. The following is certainly difficult to understand and to believe for someone who hasn't experienced it, but I was really in contact with her mind, and now completely sure that everything she said during the interview is the absolute truth about our world. Unfortunately, if I read the entire transcript and much more, this very shortened form by myself, I have a strong impression that everything I've written sounds too unbelievable to be true, that everything sounds more like a bad science fiction story from TV or cinema, and I have doubts that anyone will believe my experiences. But they are true, if you believe it or not. I can't expect from you that you believe my simple words without evidence. But I can't give it to you. I can't give you that evidence. Please read the transcript and think about it, and you maybe see the truth in these words. There will be a new meeting between me and her, and I wondered if this meeting ever came about, and I can't find anything that it did. Again, at the same house in Sweden, on April 23rd, 2000. And she promised me to give me maybe some evidence of her existence. In the meantime, I collected questions which I will ask her then. Maybe she gives me permission to reveal more of the missing parts in that transcript and about the coming war. Believe it or not, this makes no real difference, but I hope you will believe. Oli K. This is the shortened version. December 16th, 1999. I know exactly where I was at on December 16th, 1999. We were about to close our Series A funding. Anyway, I digress. All right. Question. First of all, who are you and what are you? Are you an extraterrestrial species, or can your origin be found on this planet? Answer. As you can see with your own eyes, I'm not a human being like you, and to be honest, I'm no real mammal, despite my partly mammal-like body features, which are a result of evolution. I'm a female reptile being belonging to a very old reptilian race. We are the native Terrans, and we live on that planet for since millions of years. We are mentioned in religious writings like your Christian Bible, and many of the ancient human tribes were aware of our presence and worshiped us as gods. For example, the Egyptians and the Inca and many other old tribes. Your Christian religion has misunderstood our role in your creation. So we are mentioned as evil serpents in your writings. This is wrong. Your race was genetically engineered by aliens, and we were just the more or less passive visitors of this accelerated evolution process. You must know, some of your scientists have already supposed this, that your species had your species evolved in a naturally, completely impossible speed within just 2 to 3 million years. This is absolutely impossible because evolution is a much slower process if it's natural. But you have not understood this. Your creation was artificial and done by genetic engineering, but not by us, but by an alien species. If you ask me if I'm an extraterrestrial, I must answer no. We are native Terrans. We had and have some colonies in the solar system, but we originated on this planet. It's in fact our planet, not yours. It never was yours. Question. And I just want to make a comment. Isn't it true? We're an arrogant ass species. We think that we're God's crowning creation. Actually, it turns out we're probably the fart that came through that they genetically modified. Just, my opinion, but anyway. Question. Can you tell me your name? This is difficult because your human tongue is not able to pronounce it correctly, and a mispronunciation of our names is very offensive for some of our kind. Our language is very different from yours, but my name is. I will try to say it smoother by use of your human letters. Something like sh, ha, sh, sh, with a very, very strong pronunciation of the sh and the ka sounds. We have no forenames like you, but only a single but unique name, which is divided and characterized by the way of speaking, and which is given not to children who have an own children name, but only in a special procedure in the adolescent age at the time of either religious or scientific enlightenment or awareness, as you would call it. I would appreciate it if you don't try to say my name, my real name, with your human tongue. Please call me Lacerta. This is the name I generally use when I'm among humans and talk with them. How old are you? We measure the time not like you in astronomical years and in the revolving of the Earth around sun. Basically, we usually live beneath the surface of the planet. Our time measurement depends on periodically returning cycles in the Earth's magnetic field, and according to this, and said with your numbers, I'm today, let me calculate, 57,653 cycles old. I have reached my adult phase, and my awareness 16,337 cycles ago. This is a very important date for us. According to your human time scale, I'm around 28 years old. What is your task? Do you have a job like us? To say it with your words, I'm a curious student of the social behavior of your species. That's why I'm here and talk to you. That's why I have revealed my nature to EF and now to you, and that's why I give you all that secret information and why I will try to answer all the questions on your many sheets of paper honestly. I will see how you react, how others of your kind react. There are so many crazies and liars of your kind on this planet who claim to know the truth about us, about UFOs, about aliens, and so on and so on. And some of you believe their lies. I'm interested to see how your species will react if you make the truth, which I will tell you now, public. I'm quite sure every one of you will refuse to believe my words, but I hope I'm wrong, because you need to understand if you want to survive the coming years. Question. I've read your full statement, which you have given to EF about this, but can you give me now a shorter answer? Are UFOs real flying objects piloted by extraterrestrials, or do they belong to your species? Answer. Some observed UFOs, as you call them, belong to us, but most not. Most of the mysterious flying objects in the sky are not technological devices, but mainly misinterpretations of natural phenomena your science have not understood, like spontaneous plasma flares in the high atmosphere. Nevertheless, some UFOs are real craft belonging either to your own species, especially to your military, or to other alien species, or at last to us. But a minority of sighted crafts really belong to us because we are generally very careful with our movements in the atmosphere, and we have special ways to hide our ships. If you read a report about a sighting of a metallic, bright gray, cigar-shaped cylindrical object with a length of, well, there are different types, let me say between 20 to 260 of your meters, that's some big ships, and if this object had made a very deep humming sound, and if there were 5 bright red lights on the metallic surface of the cigar, one at the top, one in the middle, two in the end, then it's likely someone of that it's one of our ships that you've seen. This means that it was either partly defect or that some of us were not careful enough. We have also a very small fleet of disc-shaped craft, but such UFOs belong usually to an alien species. Triangular UFOs generally belong to your own military, but they use foreign technology to build them. If you really want to try to see one of our craft, you should have a look at the skies over the Arctic, the Antarctic, and over Inner Asia, especially over the mountains there. Question: have you a special symbol or something like that which we can identify as your kind? We have 2 major symbols representing our species. One, the more ancient symbol, is a blue serpent with 4 white wings on a black background. The colors have religious meanings for us. This symbol was used from certain parts of my society that it is today very seldom. You humans have copied it very often in your old writings. The other symbol is a mystic being you would call a dragon in the shape of a circle with 7 white stars in the middle. This symbol is much more common today. If you see one of that symbols on a cylinder craft I've described in my previous answer or on some underground installation, this thing or place belongs definitely to us. And I would advise you to go away from there as soon as possible. Run, Forrest! The 7 stars. Question: the 7 stars in the second symbol you've mentioned, do they mean the Pleiades? Answer: Pleiades? No. Actually, the 7 stars are planets and moons. Then they have a symbol for our former 7 colonies in the solar system. The stars are shown in front of the blue background, and the dragon circle means the shape of the Earth. The 7 white stars means Moon, Mars, Venus, and 4 moons of Jupiter and Saturn. We had colonized in the past. 2 colonies are no longer in use and abandoned, and so 5 stars would be more accurate. Question: as you have not allowed me to take photos, what would be very useful to prove your real existence and the truth of this story? Can you describe yourself in detail? Answer: well, let's see, I know that it would be helpful to prove the authenticity of the interview. If you can make some photos of me, otherwise you humans are very skeptic, and that's good for us and for the real alien species acting secretly on this planet. So even if you had such photos, many of your kind would say that they are frauds, that I'm just a masked human woman or something like that. That would be very offensive to me. You must understand that I can't give you permission to make photos of me or my equipment. This has various reasons, which I want not to discuss with you further. But one of the reasons is the keeping up of the secrecy of our existence. Another reason is more religious. Nevertheless, you have permission to make drawings of my look and of my equipment. I can show you later. I can also try to describe myself, but I doubt that others of your kind will be able to imagine my real look just from simple words, because the automatic denial of the existence of reptilian species and the general of intelligent species other than your own is part of the programming of your mind. Well, I'll try. And isn't it interesting? Not just one reptilian species, but apparently very many. I hope you're finding, like I said, even if you've heard this before, it's still fascinating. Imagine the body of a normal human woman, and you have at first, a good impression of my body. Like you, I have a head, two arms, two hands, two legs, 2 feet, and proportions of my body are like yours. Also, I'm female. I have also two breasts. Despite our reptilian origin, we have started to give milk to our babies during the evolution process. This happened around 30 million years ago because this is the best thing to keep the young alive. Evolution had done this for your species already in the dinosaur age and a little bit later, also for your ours. That means not that we are now real mammals, but the breast of us are not as large as those of human women, and the size of them is generally equal for every female of my kind. The external reproduction organs are for both sexes smaller than those of humans, but they are visible and they have the same function as yours, another gift of evolution to our species. My skin is mainly of a green beige color, more pale green, and we have some patterns of brown irregular dots, each dot of the size of 1 to 2 centimeters, on our skin and on our face. The patterns are different for both sexes, but females have more, especially in the lower body of the face. You can see them, in my case, as two lines over the eyebrows, crossing my forehead, and at my cheek and my chin. My eyes are a little bit larger than human eyes for this reason. We can see better in the darkness, and usually dominated from the large black pupils, which are surrounded from a small bright green iris. Males have a dark green iris. The pupil is slit and can change its size from a small black line to a wide open egg-shaped oval because our retina is very light sensitive and the pupil must compare this. We have external round ears, but they are smaller and not so curved as yours. But we can hear better because our ears are more sensitive for sonic. We can also hear a wider range of sonic. There's a muscle or lid over the ears which can completely close them, for example, underwater. Our nose is more pointed, and there is a V-shaped curving between the nostrils, which enable the ancestors to see temperature. We have lost most of this ability, but we can still feel temperature much better with this organ. Our lips are shaped like yours, those of females a little bit larger than those of males, but of a pale brown color, and our teeth are very white and strong and a little bit longer and sharper than soft mammals' teeth. We have no different hair colors like you, but there is a tradition to color the hairs at different ages. And the original color is, like mine, a greenish brown. Our hairs are thicker and stronger than yours, and they grow very slow. In addition, the head is the only part of our body where we have hairs. Wow. Our body, arms, legs are similar in shape and size to yours, but the color is different, green beige like the face, and there are scale-like structures on the upper legs over the knee, the upper arm over the elbow. Our 5 fingers are a little bit longer and thinner than human fingers, and our skin on the palm is plain. We have no lines like you, but again, a combination of scale-like skin structures of the brown dots. Both sexes have the dots on the palm, and we have no fingerprints like you. If you touch my skin, you will feel that it is smoother than your hairy skin. There are small, sharp horns on the inside of both middle fingers. The fingernails are gray and generally longer than yours. You see that my nails are not so long and round at the top. This is because I'm female. Males have sharp pointed nails with a length of sometimes 5 or 6 of your centimeters. Damn. The following feature is very different from your body and part of our reptilian origin. If you touch the backside of my upper body, you will feel a hard, bony line through my clothing. This is not my spine, but a very difficult shaped external plate structure of skin and tissue following exactly our spine from the head to the hip. There is an extremely high number of nerves and large blood vessels in this structure and in the platelets, which are around 2 to 3 centimeters long and very touch sensitive. This is the reason why we have always problems to sit in chairs with a back like this chair. The main task of these small plates beside a role in our sexuality is simply the regulation of our body temperature, and if we sit in natural or artificial light, these plates become more blood-filled and the vessels become wider, and the sun is able to heat up our reptoid blood, which circulates through the body and through the plates for many degrees, and that gives us a great pleasure. What else is different from your kind? Oh, we have no navel because we were born in a different way to your mammal birth. The other exterior differences from your kind are minor, and I think I must not mention all now because most of them are not visible if we wear clothing. I hope the description of my body was detailed enough. I would advise you to make some drawings. Question: what kind of clothing do you generally wear? I suppose this is not the way you dress normally. No, I wear this human everyday clothing only when I'm among humans. To be honest, it's not very comfortable for me to wear such tight things, and it is always a very unusual feeling. If we are in our own home, this means in our subterranean homes or in our large artificial sun areas, and if we are together with others near to our own name, we are usually naked. This is shocking for you? When we are in public and together with many others of my species, we wear very wide and soft clothing made of thin, light stuff. I have told you that many parts of our bodies are very touch sensitive, mostly the small back plates, so you can't feel comfortable in tight clothing because it can hurt us. Man and women wear often the same kind of clothing, but the colors are different for the sexes. Um, you said others near your own name. Do you mean your family? No, not really. You would call it family, but with this word, you mean only those of your kind which belong genetically together, like father or mother and child. As I have said earlier, we have a very difficult and unique name. Part of the pronunciation of the name is absolutely unique, and there is no other beings with the same name. But part of this name, the middle part, is pronounced in a way that would told the others to which family I must use the word because you haven't the right one in your vocabulary. You belong. This means not all in that group are genetically related to you, because these groups are usually very large and contain between 40 and 70 of us. This group includes generally your genetic relations, except one of them had decided to leave the group, and your connection with father and mother is often the strongest. It would be too difficult for me to explain you now our very old social system, which is very complex, and we would need many hours only for the preliminary things. Maybe we can meet another time and give you more detail. She says, all right, question. Have you a tail like normal reptiles? And remember, humans have tails. Did a whole video on it, showed you lots and lots of people with tails. Answer, do you see one? No, we have no visible tail. If you look at our skeleton, there is only a small rounded bone at the end of our spine behind the pelvis. This is a useless rudiment of the tail of our ancestors, but it is not visible from the outside. Oh, our embryos have tails during the first month, so do ours. It's true. During the first months of development, but these tails disappear before they were born. Same with humans. A tail makes only sense for a primitive species which tries to walk on two legs and must held the balance with the tail. But our skeleton and changed during the evolution, and our spine is nearly in the same shape as yours. So we need no tail to stay on 2 feet. Question. You said that you were born in a different way than us. Do you lay eggs? Yes, but not like your birds or primitive reptiles. Actually, the embryo grows in a protein liquid inside the mother's womb, but there is also an egg-shaped but very thin chalk hole around it. That fills the whole womb. The embryo inside this hole is completely authentic from the mother's body, and it has every substance it needs to develop inside this chalk hole. There is also a cord, like your navel cord, which is connected to the point hidden behind the back plates. When the baby is going to be born, the whole egg is pressed through the vagina, covered in a slimy protein substance, and the baby came out of this soft egg after some minutes. These two horns on our middle fingers are instinctively used from the babies to break through the chalk hole and to take their first breaths. Our young are not so large as your babies when they were born. They are between 30 and 35 of your centimeters tall. The egg is around 40 centimeters tall. This is because our vagina is smaller than the human ones, but we grow to a normal size of 1.6 to 1.8 meters. What about your body temperature? You've said that you enjoy to lay in the sun. What effect has this on your organism? We are no mammals, and as reptiles, our body temperature depends on the temperature of our surroundings. If you touch my hand, you will maybe feel that it's cooler than yours because our normal body temperature is around 30 to 33 degrees Celsius. If we sit in the sun, especially naked and with our row of small back plates in the sun, our body temperatures can rise 8 to 9 degrees within minutes. This rise causes a production of many enzymes and hormones in our body. Our heart and brain and every organ becomes more active, and we feel then very, very good. You humans only enjoy being in the sun, but for us, it is the greatest pleasure you can imagine, maybe like your sexual excitement. We also enjoy swimming in very warm water or other liquids to rise our body temperatures, to raise it. If we are for some hours in the shadow, our temperatures go back to 30 to 33 degrees Celsius. This can cause no harm to us, but we feel much better in the sun. We have artificial sunrooms in the underground, but this is not the same for us like the real sun. What do you eat? Answer, generally various things like you: flesh, fruit, vegetables, special kinds of fungus from subterranean farms, and other things. We can also eat and digest some substances which are poisonous for you. The main difference between you and us is that we must eat flesh because our body needs the proteins. We can't live completely vegetarian like your kind because our digestion would stop working and we would die after some weeks or maybe months without flesh. Many of us eat raw flesh or the things which would be disgusting for you. Personally, I prefer cooked fish and surface fruits like apple and oranges. Again, are we on the menu? Can you tell me something about the natural history and evolution of your species? How old is your species? Have you evolved from primitive reptiles as mankind has evolved from apes? Answer. Oh, well, this is a very long and complex story, and it sounds certainly unbelievable to you, but it's the truth. I will try to explain it in short. Around 65 million years ago, many of our unadvanced ancestors from the dinosaur race died in a great global cataclysm. The reason for this destruction was not a natural disaster, an asteroid impact, as your scientists believe falsely, but it was a war between two enemy alien groups that took mainly place in the orbit and higher atmosphere of your planet. According to our limited knowledge about the early days, this global war was the first alien war on planet Earth, but it was definitely not the last. And a future war is coming. While a Cold War, as you call it, between alien groups is ongoing right now and has since the last 73 years on your planet. The opponents in this 65 million year old war were two advanced alien species, whose both names are again not pronounceable for your tongue. I am able to say that I'm able to say them, but it would hurt your ears if I tell you the names of their original way. One race was humanoid, like your species, but much older, and was from this universe, from a solar system in the star constellation you called Procyon. Procyon, excuse me. Today, in your maps, the other species about which we know not so much was a reptilian species, but they have nothing to do with our own species because we have evolved from a local Saurians without exterior influence, except the successful manipulation of our own genes by us. More about that later. The advanced reptilian species came not from this universe, but from well, how should I explain it to you? Your scientists have not really understood the true nature of the universe because your illogical mind is not able to see the easiest things and relies on wrong mathematics and numbers. This is part of the genetic programming of your kind, to which I will come back to later on. Let me say that you are nearly as far away from the understanding of the universe as you were 500 years ago. To use a term you will maybe understand, the other species came not from this universe, but from another bubble in the foam of the omniverse. You would call it maybe another dimension, but this is not right. This is not the right word to describe it correctly. By the way, the term dimension is generally wrong in the way you understand it. The fact you should remember is that advanced species are able to walk between bubbles by use of, as you would call it, quantum technology, and sometimes in special ways only by use of their mind. My own species had also advanced mental abilities in comparison to your species, but we are not able to do the matter string bubble changing without technology. But other species active on this planet are able, and this looks to you like magic, as it had to your ancestors. I just love this, man. I mean, think about how much we've talked on this channel. I mean, it's like you're sewing a tapestry. Back to our own history. The first species, the humanoids, had reached Earth around 150 years before the reptilians, and they built some colonies on the former continents. There was a large colony on the continent you call Antarctica today, and another one in the continent you call Asia today. These people lived together with animal-like Saurians on the planet without problems. When the advanced reptilian species arrived in this system, the humanoid colonists fled to Procyon, tried to communicate peacefully, but they were not successful, and a global war started within months. You must understand that both species were interested in this young planet not for its biology, an undeveloped species, but for only one reason: raw material, especially copper. To understand this reason, you must know that copper is a very important material for some advanced species, even today, because it is, together with some unstable materials, able to produce a new stable elements if you induce a high electromagnetic field in the right angle with a high nuclear radiation field to producing an overcrossing of fluctuating fields. This fusion of copper with other elements in such a magnetic radiation field chamber can produce a force field of special nature that is very useful for various technological tasks. But the base for this is an extremely complex formula you are not able to discover because of the restrictions of your simple mind. Both species wanted to have the copper of planet Earth, and for this reason, they fought not a very long war in space and orbit. The humanoid species seemed to be successful during the first time, but in a last battle, the reptilians decided to use a mighty experimental weapon, a special kind of fusion bomb, which should destroy the life forms on the planet, but should not harm the valuable raw materials and the copper. The bomb was fired from space and detonated at a point of your planet you call Middle America today. As it detonated in the oceans, it produced an unpredictable fusion with hydrogen, and the effect was much stronger than the reptilians had expected. A deadly radiation, an overproduction of fusion oxygen, a fallout of different elements, and a nuclear winter for nearly 200 years was the result. Most of the humanoids were killed, and the reptilians lost their interest on the planet after some years for, even for us, unknown reasons. Maybe because of the radiation. Planet Earth was on its own again, and the animals on the surface died. By the way, one result of the fusion bomb was the fallout of different elements and materials created in the burning process, and one of those materials was uranium. Your human scientists today see uranium concentration in the ground as an evidence for an asteroid impact that killed the dinosaurs. This is not true, but how should they know that? Well, most of the dinosaurs died, not all in the detonation, but in the bad things which came after the war, especially in the nuclear winter and in the fallout. Nearly all dinosaurs and reptilians were dead within the next 20 years. Some of them, especially those in the ocean, were able to survive for the next 200 to 300 years, even in this changed world. But these species also died because the climate had changed. The nuclear winter ended after 200 years, but it was colder on Earth than before. Despite the cataclysm, some species were able to survive. Fish, like the sharks, birds, little creepy mammals, your ancestors, various reptiles like crocodiles, and there was a special kind of small but advanced dinosaur which had developed together with the last large animal reptilians like the species you call the Tyrannosaurus rex. This new reptile was walking on two legs and looked at a little bit like your reconstruction of an iguanodon. It originated in this family. But it was smaller, around 1.5 meters tall, with some humanoid features, a changed bone structure, a larger skull and brain, a hand with a thumb, which was able to grab things, a different organism and digestion, advanced eyes in the middle of the head, like your eyes, and most important, with a new and better brain structure. This was our direct ancestor. There were theories that the radiation from the bomb took part in the mutations of the organism of this new breed, but this has never been proven. Oh, look at the time. Oh, we'll go on a little bit. Nevertheless, this little humanoid-like dinosaur evolved during the following 30 million years. As I have said earlier, a species needs generally more time to evolve than you think. If the evolution is not artificially induced, like in your case, from an animal to a more or less thinking being, these beings were intelligent enough not to die in the next million of years because they had learned to change their behavior. They lived in caves instead on the cold nature, and they learned to use stones and branches as the first tools, and the use of fire has helped keep warm them, especially to warm their blood, which is very important for our kind to survive. During the next 20 million years, the species was divided by nature into 27 subspecies. Unfortunately, former reptilian species were prone to divide themselves in a more or less illogical way into subspecies during the evolution process. You can clearly see this is unnecessarily a high number of animal dinosaur species in earlier times. And there were many, mainly primitive wars between this subspecies for dominance. Okay, we may pick up there tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow, it'll be with the ladies. But we'll pick up there later on. They're here. I know, I know. Most people will say, nope. And we're going to finish it. Let's find out what happens. There's a war coming. Depends. I mean, Ariel said the same thing. Well, she wasn't a reptile. But nevertheless, still, you know, so many uh, things from Hollywood have shown the same thing, a species of reptilians. Um, you know, the inside of the earth is pretty big. It's like really big. So I don't know. What's everyone saying in the chat room? Brian, I love it. Says, be kind. Be kind of cool to keep a female reptile warm as a cold Canadian winter night. As long as she doesn't eat you, I think you're going to be fine. Because I think that's what, I'm not saying that. Mary Wins, you're welcome. Um, it is. Scoop, it's truly fascinating. We're going to finish the book. We will finish this one. It may go for 2 more shows, but she says it's here. I mean, and then I saw someone, I did not watch the Super Bowl, as I said earlier, but they said that there was a theme to a lot of the commercials, that it seemed to be preparing us for an alien invasion. I don't know. I know the vibe that was going around the world right before 9/11. We're right back there. We're in that same vibe. That same cycle, and it's intensifying. Are they going to attack us? Is this what we're seeing? These armadas? They're up there. I mean, someone's building a whole lot of crap. You know, the United States is going broke. We got a Congress that has abandoned all reason. Folks, let me just tell you right now, there is a collapse coming. I don't care what you are. I'm trying to tell you, get your poop together. I mean that. It's coming. It can't, it's not, they want it to come and they have done, it's going to happen. Now, I don't know, is this going to coincide with some sort of, you know, of holograms? Are we going to see, Project Blue Light? Are this what? Or is this going to be real? Now, the worst fear is that this is real because no freaking God, you're Jesus, you're Satan, you're whatever the hell you're Muhammad, whatever it is, ain't going to be able to save our ass. And just think, maybe that is why we cannot remember how we got here. We have no memory of that. You know, depending on which, how your belief system go, hey, Lost in Space, right back at you. Apparently we've seen this before. I don't know. I mean, you know, I always say remain calm, but remain smart too. That's just what it does. Um, Build back better. Yeah, but you know what, Nina? The great many of us are going to be gone. And that's the other part of this reality of this story. Death is coming to the world. Death like we have never seen it before. But no one wants to believe that. No, 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 no. Don't bring me down. People say, man, you're killing my buzz. Well, I can dig that. Hey, Jesse James. Uh, so anyway, DC right back at you. Uh, but we have to be at least wise about this. There's at least a probable possibility that this is history. Now, if someone made that up, you got to think of yourself, what a creative mind. I mean, were they channeling it? I don't know. Mark, what's up? Right back at you. Frog Scotch 420. Hey, that sounds like a good blend. Is that a sativa or an indica? But anyway, death is here. It's just Grace, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's so true. Linda Espinosa, I think we've seen it before, but I think you're right, Linda. I think you're right. And we have that thing. Well, if you see a snake, what are you going to do? You're probably going to jump. The whole idea. And, well, dragons don't exist. Yeah, they do. I think they're a very intelligent species. So anyway, Paul Joe, what's up? John, good to see you. You're welcome, good sir. Well, anyway, we'll pick up on this on Wednesday. We may even discuss it tomorrow. What if this is the case? I mean, it's like the movie Alien Abduction. I mean, is this really what they're doing? I mean, she talks about, and we'll get onto this on Wednesday, about their ability of gene manipulation. Where do you think some of those genes are coming from? Us. Maybe that's where we get the stories of Lilith, the incubus, the succubus. This is nothing more than deep-seated fear memories that our species have been basically a genetic reservoir from these other species to pull from. Kitty says, my own channeling says maybe a game of telephone someday. I'll have to get back and read some of these comments. So anyway, Brian, all right. I appreciate it. I'll let y'all go. Go get lunch or wherever you're heading off. Speak favor over you. Keep happy. I mean, that's the positive side. I mean, if this is going to happen, all right, fine. We can prepare for it. You know, I mean, if they show up in the sky, what are you going to do? Well, I'll probably, offer them some libations and, see if they're really cool. Ask them if they dig rock and roll. Now, if they don't, well, all right. Then we have to get funky. All right, everybody. Ruby, how you doing, darling? Good to see you. Hey, Trina, see you tomorrow with Miss Jenny. Mary says love wins. It does. Or love won. I guess that would be past tense to the future tense, right? Yeah. Hey, Jules, what's up? All right, everybody, be good or be good at it, whatever it is, and be smiling. Just keep on smiling.